Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are showing off the Tier 8 Pan-Asian destroyer, the Hsien Yang, and we are playing on Neighbors, playing Standard. You know, I just love this type of battle mode at Wargaming. We have a Ranger, 2 North Carolinas, a Magi, KGV, Queen Elizabeth, New Orleans, Prince Eugen, Stores, Galley, a Hsien Yang, and a Fubuki. On the enemy team, there's a Ranger, 3 North Carolinas, KGV, Queen Elizabeth, Otago, Chapaya, Pensacola, Cleveland, Leander, and a Z-23. So, let's talk about the Hsien Yang. The Hsien Yang, in all really basics, it is the Benson with the Seahole. That's essentially what the Hsien Yang is. And for stock Hsien Yang, it's alright. I would say it's not bad, it's not good. But Hsien Yang, I've gotten accustomed again. It once again is very similar to the Tier 8 USN destroyer, the Benson. And if you understand the Benson and can play the Benson really well, you should do fine with the Hsien Yang. Obviously, the only thing major you have to keep in mind is the torpedoes. Torpedoes are obviously deep water torpedoes, and they aren't, you know, gonna hit destroyers, but they are sneaky. That's one nice thing about these torpedoes. They do have an 8-kilometer range. They go up around 66 knots. Sometimes they feel slow to me, but they can hit pretty hard, as we will be seeing in a little bit. So obviously the CVs are currently battling in the sky and do pretty decent job. I will have to give props to our CV, considering it is a Ranger in a Tier 8 battle with several North Carolinas. Does a decent job controlling the skies. But you can see what he's kind of planning on. Now, I did move to the western side of Neighbors, expecting to meet some resistance, and instead, well, the enemy team is lemming towards the eastern side. And we know where the Z-23, so he can't really pop up and surprise me. So I might try to hit this North Carolina. This North Carolina, once again, they're all lemming to the eastern side of the front. And he is within 8 kilometers. Now, because he is pulling away like he is, I'm going to try to get as close as possible. And the detection on the Hsien Yang is decent, 5.8 kilometers, so fairly decent. Can be fairly sneaky, and you probably are going to get good torpedo damage. Now, the upgraded torpedoes are... you get a trade-off. Either you get increased range, reduced speed, and increased reload time, or you can have the standard, which I kind of am liking the standard. I don't know how I feel about the long distance. Obviously 9.2 kilometers is a little bit better. You have a little bit more of a buffer, but it played correctly. We should do just fine. North Carolina is still selling in a straight line, and once again, these torpedoes are sneaky. 0.7 kilometers before it is detected, and just now it's detected, and looky there. Yep, there we go. First blood and a devastating strike. Very, very nice. So things are definitely looking fairly good for us. Once again, the enemy team is still lemming. Obviously, they do realize there was a destroyer on the side, but they're starting to push towards the island. Now, keep in mind, we have actually split our forces. One force went up towards the eastern side, and one force has gone off towards the western, and we have 3 of our battleships. There's 2, North Carolina and Magi. I can't see what that last one is. And you would assume that, considering there's no one on the western side, that they would start pushing up. And they should. They really should start pushing up right now, because there's no one resisting them. The enemy team has all lemminged over to the eastern side, which is not good for our ships on the eastern side, because they are going to get focused down. And this is kind of how this battle is going to go. No matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, you can only do so much in a battle. But anyways, I don't want to spoil too much. Starting to push in cap. Now, I do want to take out this Ranger. This Ranger is extraordinarily low on health, and definitely would be nice to get rid of him, just so RCV has better control of the skies. But once again, it is a Ranger, and it is going to have slight difficulty against all these North Carolinas and AA ships. So I'm going to try to get as close as I can. Obviously, the Rangers should be aware that there is a ship around, and obviously destroyer is capping. So the enemy team is going to realize this, and they're going to start coming back towards the cap. Now, it takes over about 3 minutes to fully cap out a base, which is going to give enough time for the enemy team to turn around and start coming back this way. And already some ships have already begun doing this, and unfortunately for me, I'm not going to be able to get any torpedoes off on this Ranger successfully because he is reversing. So instead, as soon as the friendly CV's planes get near, I'm gonna slow down and pop my first smoke. Now this is extraordinarily dangerous because now the enemy team knows where I am at, because obviously a smoke cloud popping up randomly is obviously going to foretell an enemy destroyer. But guns are decent. They are, once again, very similar to the USN destroyer line. They have a better fire chance, I believe. So we do get a fire, 2 fires actually on this Ranger. He is melting away. And there we go. Ranger is officially dead. Enemy Cleveland is starting to push in, and torpedoes are ready, and probably should have dropped my torpedoes. Maybe at this range, maybe would have hit them. I am hoping to get a little bit closer, and I am taking my time because there was planes above us that I did not want to get spotted. But I really am letting it sit too late because obviously the Cleveland does have its own spotter craft. With him getting closer and closer to us, so does his spotter craft. Now the detection on the ship in the air is around 2.9 kilometers. Fortunately for us, the spotter plane does spot us. Obviously, look at this. 4 ships now targeting us, and unfortunately we do get a hit, but are able to pull away with the majority of our health. Now the health pool on the Hsien Yang is only 12,800, not the highest. Now keep in mind, once again, this is a stock Hsien Yang. So once you have it upgraded, you are going to get a little bit more health, not much, but every little bit does help. Torpedoes are away, and probably should have predicted the Cleveland moving further north, because unfortunately he does miss these torpedoes, and now we are spotted and we are taking quite a big hit. But fortunately, since it is a Pan-Asian destroyer, we're able to once again smoke up and continue firing. I want to get rid of this Cleveland. Don't know if he has hydro, probably not, but definitely want to try and get rid of him as quickly as possible. I'm actually going to keep the camera away from me. I keep zooming in and out. It's a good idea. It's just so you can keep an eye on what's around. Now Z-23 is going to be a problem. He's the only destroyer on the enemy team, and we have just lost our destroyer, and we have lost our Prince Eugen. Oh boy. Yeah, you can kind of see where this is going already, can't you? So, pulling away, because I know for a fact that the Z-23 is probably going to try to push the smokescreen with his hydro, because it is a German destroyer and he does have hydro. So I'm going to try to pull away and try to get into a better location. There is a North Carolina. He is obviously doing the normal reversing. Now, high props to the New Orleans player. He does a really good job in this battle, so high props to him. So now things are all right at the moment. We still have our CV. We are even on teams. We are ahead in points due to the fact that we did prevent them from maintaining a capture on well, preventing them from gaining points when we captured. Togo is a very dangerous ship, and this Amagi is pushing way too hard. Yes, the Amagi is actually starting to push, and now he's pretty much coming into the lion's den. There's a KGV, North Carolina, Togo, Z-23. Yeah, the enemy team I will give props to. They did a really good job focus firing our ships, because our ships on the eastern front did go down pretty quickly, and our team was kind of unfocused, to say the very least. Alright, so switching my eyes to the KGV, hoping to get some torpedoes. Probably should have waited just a moment longer to drop these torpedoes. I should have realized that he'd probably be moving south and not further into the cap. So that was a poor decision making. And that's something I gotta get accustomed to once again, is focusing on being patient with your shots with torpedoes. Because once you miss, you are waiting for a while. That's another bad thing about the Hsien Yang, is it does take a while for the torpedoes to reload. We do get a hit, cause a flooding, and I am actually going to slow up and pop my smoke and try to get a fire on the KGV as quickly as possible. Now, once again, the fire chance is alright. I do run flags on it, but we'll see. I don't know. There we go. Got a fire. Good. He is going to burn for a little while. That is a permafire, but it's not going to kill him. The guns are decent. Like as I did mention, they are very similar to the Benson gun. Very fast reload. As far as against other destroyers, that's at times lackluster. It feels kinda lackluster, especially I've battled against obviously shimikazes and stuff like that, but damage wise they just don't seem to do all that much damage. And I am being extremely cautious right now because there's obviously a Z-23 and he has torpedoes, and this, oh my word, if you really can tell what's gonna happen, it's going to happen. North Carolina goes down once again. By the time they actually pushed up there, the entire enemy team was there, and it goes down. Now, the fortunate thing here, I probably should have actually kept that smoke screen between myself and that KGV, because this is gonna hurt, and this is gonna bite me in the butt here in a moment, or a little bit later in this battle. Now, able to pull away, because the speed on the Hsien Yang is decent. It's actually fairly decent. Without engine boost and with a speed flag, you can get around 37 knots. With the engine boost, you can get over 40 knots. So a little bit quick ship. Very nimble, handles very similar to the Benson. Once again, in a lot of ways. So if you're going to be hearing me say that, that's pretty much the whole idea of the Hsien Yang. It's a Benson in the sea hole with good AA. I will give props to the AA. Is actually fairly decent. Once again, I thought this KGV would actually turn in, and you can tell I'm definitely not that good of a destroyer captain, but I try my best. Now the CV does drop on the KGV. He is going to go down one way or another. He's burning and possibly flooding, so Ranger does get a kill. Good job there. Now here, I probably should have smoked up, but I am concerned that the CV is going to lose detection on the Z-23. And once again, that Z-23 is more of a threat to me than anything else. Definitely need to get rid of him as quickly as possible. Now, the battle is coming close to the end here. And here I make this mistake. I get greedy. Now keep in mind, keep an eye on where our ships are at. We have a galley way on the western side. We have an NC further south, and we have our New Orleans all the way in the islands, doing a really good job causing constant fire on the enemy ships. And here I get a little greedy. Obviously the Z-23 I think probably has RDF, because he has a really good sense of where I'm at. A really good sense, as you can see. And this is going to be my downfall. I do slow up. Was going to pop smoke, and well, there's also a cruiser right there. That's Chapayev. And that Chapayev has radar, as well as a Z-23 right behind us. Yeah, things aren't looking so good. So, can you guess what's about to happen? I am opening up once again on that Z-23, getting some good hits. I will have to give props to this, getting some good hits on the Z-23, but I can't drop torpedoes because it's Pan-Asian, and unfortunately we go down. And I'm gonna spare you from the rest of this battle because, once again, they make some questionable decisions. Galley is low on health, I understand this. He is trying to be careful, but he's not overly useful. Now, the North Carolina makes a very odd decision. One thing that I just don't fully comprehend why he does what he does. The enemy team is pushing towards our cap. New Orleans is doing a really good job, causing constant fire on the enemy ships. Now, this new North Carolina honestly should probably just push towards mid and try to help our NC with this North Carolina. That's what he really should be doing, because that channel just to the left of him is extraordinarily dangerous because there is a Z-23 and the Chapayev still around. And can you guess what he does? Instead of helping his New Orleans with this North Carolina, he instead pushes back north into a, well, unfortunate and uncomfortable situation with the Z-23. Another thing is, had the North Carolina focused the enemy North Carolina, our New Orleans possibly could have taken out, or at least assisted in taking out both ships, because we do have a enemy in sea that's extraordinarily low in health. But unfortunately, can you see here that I'm a little annoyed at this? Yeah, I know I made a mistake, and that cost me my life. And unfortunately for this North Carolina, his idea of pushing in is going to cost him his life. And unfortunately, we are going to lose on time due to points. So that is the unfortunate thing about it. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the port. I won't let you guys deal with the left of this battle, so see you in port. Alright everyone, welcome back to the port. And the Hsien Yang, it's alright. If, like I said, as I did mention multiple times in that replay, if you're accustomed to the Benson, you'll do fine with the Hsien Yang. Now, once again, obviously the major thing is the torpedoes are annoying at times. You can't do anything against enemy destroyers. But let's go ahead and take a look at the stats of a stock Hsien Yang. Hit points, you have 12,800. Is exactly the same as a stock Benson. Armor is 3 to 20 millimeters. Once again, very similar to the Benson. So there's not that big a difference as far as hit points. The other nice thing is she's very skinny. That's really superb, and she does handle very similar to the Benson in a lot of ways. Very nimble, very quick. Her guns, you have 4 single 127 millimeters. They have a 3.3 second reload time, 4.9 second turn time on the guns. I do have expert marksman on this captain, and I'm going to get rid of that as soon as Clan Wars begins again, and I'm going to redo my captain. So do keep in mind when we do take a look at the captain, is going to be a little bit different. Max HE shell damage is 1800 with an 8% fire chance. Max AP damage is 2100. Firing range is 11.4, and velocity on the shells is 792 meters per second. Once again, they have a lot of hang time because it's essentially the Benson. Something you definitely have to get accustomed to when using the ship. Torpedoes are nice. You have 2 quintuple 533 millimeters. The reload time is 2 minutes. And once again, when I get my captain reworked, I will probably have torpedo reload on the captain, so I get my torpedoes back up and going as quickly as possible. So that will be down a little bit. Max damage on the torpedoes is nice, 15,867. Really nice. 8 kilometer range, and detectability is 0.8 kilometers. I believe once you get them upgraded, they go down kilometer to 0.7, I believe. Speed on the torpedoes is 61 knots. So overall, not the quickest, but not bad. They do feel slow at times, I will have to say. I've noticed that quite a few times. They feel extraordinarily slow. AA is decent. You could definitely buff the AA. Once again, this is essentially the sea hull on the Benson. So you have 6 single 20 millimeters, 22 average damage, 2 kilometer range. Then you have 2 dual 20 millimeters. They have an average damage of 12 with a 2-kilometer range, and then your main guns work as additional AA. Additional average damage is 43 with a 5-kilometer range. So AA is alright, is usable, is viable. Can definitely get that buffed if you do want to use it. Maneuverability, 39.4 knots. Quick little nimble ship. Once again, I am running the speed flag on this ship. Turning circle radius is tight, 570 meters, and rudder shift time is 4.9. But once again, this is a stock version of the Hsien Yang, and that can be obviously a little bit better once you get her upgraded. Concealment is 5.8 kilometers, which is superbly nice because you are sneaky. Not as sneaky as IGN destroyers, but sneaky all the same. By air is 2.9, and when firing in smoke, it is 2.7 kilometers. Moving on to the consumables. Once again, Pan-Asian Destroyer Smoke is very nice. 10-second interval between when it is dissipated and when the next charge is ready to use. So can jump between smoke screens very, very quickly. You can, and this is when the Pan-Asian Destroyers get surveillance radar, you can opt for surveillance radar. I don't think it's really that useful. The only thing I could really think is to either scare a enemy destroyer away from a cap or just know where they are at. The range of the surveillance radar is 7.5 kilometers and is active for 15 seconds. So very short duration, not very viable for offering spotting damage or getting a significant amount of damage against an enemy destroyer. Yes, it is nice to have, but I would probably recommend the smoke generator over the radar for the Hsien Yang. Just don't think it's really viable. Going to the upgrades, obviously I have gone for main armaments mod 1, propulsion mod 1 as well, and then here you could probably, and this is very viable, opt for the AA guns mod 2. This increases your range of your AA by 20%, which is nice to have. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the Hsien Yang does not get defensive AA, and just having that additional range isn't always viable because you can't offer scattering of planes with your AA just as it is normally. So it is nice to have because you do have additional range, but at the exact same time, you can get spotted when your AA guns are rattling off. Propulsion mod 2, and then concealment expert per usual. Moving on to captain. And I will say right now, this captain is going to get reworked as soon as I can do it for free. I'd rather do it for free. First of all, I have gone for priority target, and this is from the Gajamada. Then last stand, obviously. Superintendent is nice. I could almost say you could be okay with not running superintendent because of just the large and abundance of smoke generators you have. Demolition expert and concealment expert, and then I do have expert marksman. So when I go back to redo the captain, I am going to obviously get rid of expert marksman. I will probably get adrenaline rush. That's always nice to have. Then I will get torpedo armament expertise just to increase the reload on the torpedoes, and then possibly get RDF and possibly also get survivability expert. That's kind of my game plan on the captain, what I will be going for. But once again, it's going to be a little bit. I'm still 4 points away from a full 19 spec captain. Shouldn't be that difficult to get. But anyways, this is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for joining in and watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.